It's being 8:30. Call a meeting of October 7th, 2020 to order. First thing I have to read from the governor. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Municipal Building Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to view this meeting while in progress may do so by tuning into Westborough TV. With that being said, we do have a quorum present. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes of the September 16th, 2020 meeting?
So moved as printed.
Okay. Do we have a second? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Dexter?
Aye.
Peter?
Yes.
Peter O'Neill. Okay. Jim Stewart?
Aye.
Earl?
Aye.
Al Gordon? Yes. Okay, with that done, I think we'll turn the meeting over to Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, committee members and others on the call. You should see my screen, hopefully. There is a cover sheet with the report. I did see Jonathan Ennis is on the call. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yes.
Item 3, we'll go through a series of items that we've been speaking about on the project as far as closeout, so maybe we can hit them as we go through. I do have an updated punch list that was provided from 5 Star that's listed here. This is dated on September 22nd. So Jonathan, if you want, maybe you could give us an update on item 3A, the first and second item, the punch list, and the HVAC rooftop units.
Okay, so with the punch list, there is a couple small items. There's a couple for Adams, and I believe there's one for Energy Electric, and they do have plans to finish them when they come back for training. So that should pretty much finalize any of the outstanding subcontractor items. And then there is a few closeout items that are listed on there, which is the training that we're working on, the attic stock, the site survey, which is still under review with the engineering department. And then there is a few other pieces on there, like the final liens that will be sent over once payments are complete. So that should pretty much wrap up everything else that is listed on the punch list. And for the HVAC units, we did have that meeting earlier this month, and we all met on site, and they did install the new control panel and a new ribbon to that. And then there was also a fan that needed to be replaced for one of the condensers, and that actually the fan that they had was a different voltage, so they've ordered a new one, and it should be on its way in the next few days. And as soon as Adams has their hands on it, they said they'll send a tech out to complete the installation, and then they will run another test on the system to make sure everything's up and going. And with that, I mean, that kind of leads us into commissioning as well. I have reached out, and it has been confirmed that the 14th will be the day that Adams and AJ Roberta will be back on site to meet Scott and continue commissioning. So get an update after that meeting to find out how much training is needed. And I think that sums up where we're at. Any questions?
Jonathan, sure. This is Peter. Thank you for that. With respect to the punch list and the update your office provided on September 22nd, I believe, and I'll speak for myself, and I think the building commissioner and the facilities director can chime in. We should probably schedule a date and time to walk through the punch list as a verification process between your office and Westborough and the OPM and the designer, just to, like we did in the past. Are you at a point where we can take this punch list that's dated September 22nd and schedule a meeting on site to walk through the list of items? Maybe not necessarily all of them, but a good lion's share of them as a verification process.
Yeah, so I don't see any reason that I would actually like to touch base with Matt and see if there's anything that he wants to get done before we do that. But I can send out an email right after this, and we can get something set up in the maybe next week if possible.
Yeah, if you could, if your office, or you could let us know when your office is ready for a walk down of the punch list, that'd be good.
Okay.
May I make a comment on that, please?
Yes, please.
It's Fred Lenardo speaking. The only thing I might suggest is that we push it off past next week, because supposedly we're trying to get an ADA, AAB meeting. It'd be great to have that meeting have taken place before the final walkthrough as well.
That makes sense.
Okay, that's good point, Fred, thank you.
So, Jonathan, if you want to shoot for not next week, but the weekend, to do some kind of walkthrough with Jim and myself, I'd be more than happy to attend that.
Yeah, so we'll shoot for the week of the 9th.
No, the week of the 9th is next week.
No, 19th, sorry.
Okay, sorry, yes.
Alan, can I ask to Jim or to Jonathan or somebody, are the HVAC units working now? Or are we having temperature control issues still, or what? What's with the heating and the ventilation and the air conditioning?
So when I left the site, I was told that it was fully operational. Jim, can you comment?
Well, it's not fully operational when one of the condensers is down, but we're not in the cooling stages anymore either. We're more in the heating stages, which we haven't had any issues. We made it through last winter okay. There's a couple things that I think the commissioning agent, I had a discussion with him yesterday when he returns next week that we want to just verify and double check. But as far as right now, Dexter, where that RTU primarily does cooling functions. There is some heating capability to it, but we have the boilers that supply that and the VAVs. It's more for airflow. So right now, yes, everything is functional. It's not running at 100% because we're bypassed on that one fan condenser. It's the motor actually and the blade that need to be changed. But yeah, so we are up. The building is comfortable. Right now, I said during the meeting we had last week that we've missed the cooling season now. So for that RTU to get run through its paces to make sure it's going to be fully functional. I was talking to the JCI people, and they say that they can simulate certain things to get the unit to come on and see if it runs. But they also stated that it's just a test, and it until basically next summer, when we have some more 90-degree days and the thing is in full cooling mode, that'll be the true test of the unit.
Okay, so that begs my question, Alan, if I may, to Peter or to Jonathan. What's the status of the request for a warranty extension, given that we haven't had a full cooling season? We've had a full heating season as to last fall, and now we're coming on to heating now from what Jim just said. What's the status with that warranty extension to give us a full cooling season?
So Adams actually did respond, and they were willing to work with the town and give an extension. They just wanted to discuss more details, and at any point we can schedule a call to discuss duration of this extension.
So Peter, then you should get on that and make arrangements with Jonathan and Adams to make sure that we get that.
Yes.
Okay, and Enza, if you can make sure that's noted in the minutes, please.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Al.
Okay,
If I may, I'd like to make a comment on that too, please.
go ahead, Fred.
This is, again, anecdotally, because I'm living in the building. This system is not right. I mean, if you noticed, I have a jacket on, so I'm not going to complain because we have fresh air coming through the system. But either, I don't know if it's a balance issue, a temperature, whatever, but we haven't regulated the temperatures in this building ever. So I just want to be clear on that.
Jim, is that something you can look at?
Yes, I can look at it, Al, but quite frankly, this unit, I don't know if it's a BMS issue and a controls issue, if it's a set point issue that's causing they say that the duct supply temperature is set at 58 degrees. So to me, that seems low. I'm not an engineer. I didn't design this thing. I just can't see if you have 58-degree duct temperature, and now we're in the heating season, but that's still maintaining 58 degrees. You're always heating air. And if you're not heating it, the VAVs aren't calling to reheat that air. It's going to be 58-degree air temperature blowing into these offices. And I think that I do go on and make adjustments when I see spaces that are always cold. But I shouldn't have to do that every single day. I shouldn't have to log on to the system and make all these adjustments to, 10 different office spaces or suites. That should be done, I guess until, the fully commission's done and we have, NV5's report on the way that the system works. I do go on and make adjustments, and Fred, I apologize for, your space conditions right there, but there's definitely, I have to agree with Fred. To me, it just doesn't seem like the system's operating properly.
Let me be clear. I'm not trying to complain. I'm just trying to say that.
I understand.
I'm trying to support Jim here, saying that I don't think this system has ever been right since we moved in. And I continue to say it's still not right, because we're in between seasons now. We're getting that thing where you're really not calling for heat or cool, but you got to produce fresh air. So the fresh air is coming through. Well, I don't want to complain because it's much worse when we don't have anything coming through. But I'm just saying the system, something's still not right with the system, whatever that may be. That's well beyond my field of expertise. I'm just speaking for a tenant in the building.
Yeah, but the fact that you got a jacket on speaks for itself, Fred.
Well, there you go.
Dexter, I just want to know that these conditions have been, I spoke to the commissioning agent, and he's well aware of it. He is coming back next week on the 14th. He's going to be there all day. We're going to look into this stuff and see if there's set points that need to be adjusted, or what the reason it is that I'm constantly fighting to maintain a comfortable temperature in the building.
I'm sure you're giving it your best, Jim. It's just one of those things that we just got to keep on top of it. That's all. Meeting after meeting after meeting, we're still discussing this issue. That's mind-boggling. Anyway, go ahead. Al, take it away.
Yeah. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, thank you for those comments. But yes, as mentioned, the commissioning 5-star has requested next Wednesday, the 14th, as a date to resume commissioning. That's been confirmed with the commissioning agent. So there's going to be a day out there, maybe a couple of days of revisiting and tuning up all the commissioning activities that are underway as well. If we can, Jonathan, can we move down into the next two items, owner training and closeout documentation? I think you touched a little bit on it, but could you give us another update, please?
Yep, so the training, I did put in the electrical training agendas the other day, or actually yesterday, for just a review. And I sent out a couple proposed dates for the plumbing, and I'm just waiting to hear back on that. And the HVAC and controls, they're actually working on setting up their videographer, and then they're going to propose dates based on his availability, which will be sent out to you and Jim. And
yeah, Jonathan, I did respond to the training as far as Arugio. I sent you those dates yesterday.
Okay. I'm catching up on a little bit of emails, so I will take a look. Thank you. And so as far as closeout documents, I did touch on them a little bit as well. And once the site survey is fully approved by the engineering department, I will bring the hard copy and USBs out. I actually brought them during the RTU meeting in the case that they were approved, but at the time they weren't. So I'm just waiting on that final acceptance, and I will turn over those last pieces. And as far as deliverables, the only other thing would be, the attic stock, which again is part of the punch list. So, is there anything I'm missing that you can think of that I'm not addressing?
No, just as long, I know you and Jim, this is Peter. I know, Jonathan, you and Jim have been talking by email, and there's been some on-site representatives, I think, scheduled to be on site to validate the maintenance stock quantities, ceiling tiles, floor tile, paint. How is that going? I think Matt Rex was on site last week.
Yeah, so we tried to, excuse me, sorry. We tried to get Santangelo out and the painters, Spiros, and unfortunately they were not able to make their appointments that I had scheduled with them. So we did have Matt go out and meet Santangelo a second time, and he's going to provide a list on anything that he didn't see on site and provide it. So I will provide a list on what he went over with Matt. And Spiros, I did talk to him, and he is planning on ordering all new, because I did let him know that the paint there is a mess. And I do agree that the way it was put in there, and it's not labeled properly, and I did express this to him. So he is now going back and he's going to reorder the correct quantities, and I will be providing an updated list as soon as I have it from him. And as far as the other attic stock, Energy Electric has been working on theirs for quite some time, and they claim now it is on order. So I will have a final list from Energy Electric. And then as far as Arujo and the HVAC/controls, they will be bringing theirs essentially as soon as it's needed. They were always planning to bring it on training days, but we can have it there next week if it's needed. So.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that. This is my little side pet peeve. I look at October and April as filter change out dates. I think the filters for the rooftop units probably need to be looked at and that maybe replaced, because we are changing the seasons. I'm not sure if the replacement filters for the rooftop units have been provided.
Peter,
I will.
I'll just chime in. Yes, Adams did bring filters and belts, not on their last visit, but their visit before. I've changed out the filters on the RTUs already with that attic stock. I do have belts that our HVAC contractor will be changing when he comes to this building here shortly. But that's about it.
Okay, good. That's good to hear. Thank you. Okay. I guess closeout documents, the last thing is the site as-built, which Jonathan, I think you mentioned the town engineer's office is reviewing that. Is that still the status?
Correct. Yeah, it's been approved by the design team on my end, and now I'm just waiting for final acceptance from town so I can drop off hard copy and USBs.
I will just say that the engineering department is very understaffed right now. There's a couple people that are gone. I do know that they hired an assistant that I don't know if he started yet or if he hasn't started yet, but I do know that they're very backed up right now with all the other projects that are going on in town that they're dealing with. So there could be a little bit of delay before we get that back. I can check on it, but I certainly don't want to, I understand the dilemma that they have there with basically having just 1.5 people in their office, including the town engineer. So it could be a little bit of a delay, but we'll keep on it.
Yeah, I'll pipe in on that if I may. It's Fred Leonardo. I apologize. I reached out to Lisa Lane yesterday. I didn't get a response. I will follow up on that as well. They do have a new assistant town engineer, and they've had the drawing, at least electronically, a couple, 3 weeks. So I'll also, along with Jim, follow up with them to make sure that gets done.
Great. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Jim, for that update. Okay, if there's no other comments, I'll keep moving down the list. We can come back to anything that somebody has other items on that we spoke about. But the ADA, AAB discussion was scheduled for that, I think, next week. I sent out a request last night, and I'm getting some responses from the design team, the building commissioner, the facilities, and the contractor. So looks like it should be next week. We'll have the discussion. And as Fred mentioned a few minutes back, the following week, which will probably be the week of the 19th, we'll probably do the walkthrough. So next week, we can talk about ADA, week of the 19th, punch list. Moving down, Jim, if you want, if there's anything new to speak about with respect to the locker room thresholds or the water flow at the fixtures.
Sure. So we did receive the thresholds last Tuesday. Danny was actually, unfortunately, had to go. He was on vacation towards the end of the week, and he had Monday off also. He called me Tuesday, and it looks like he's going to be out all week. He's developed a cold, and he's going to the doctors today. So I'm just a little bit shorthanded to get that. You know, I was hoping to have those installed so I could report for this meeting that on if they work. I think they're going to work by looking at the design of them and the way we install the installation. I think it's going to solve the problem, but I do not have a report as of yet. I've just been short-handed.
Okay, thank you.
As far as the water flow, with my Arugio plumbing training coming back, it's not next week, it's the week after. I plan on doing a lot of these adjustments while they're there as part of our training when we get to that segment of it. And because I quite frankly was just going to go there and try to do it on my own, where I think I need to turn just these, but with having them on site, I think it'll be a much more streamlined procedure with the professionals here to guide us.
Jim, this is Al. Have we had any other problems with any backups or anything?
We have not, Al. I think that more people in the building is definitely helping. What I'm assuming it's helping is we haven't had any other issues. But I've got my fingers crossed on that, and then we'll make this adjustment, and hopefully that'll take care of it.
Is it necessary, you think, to have a camera put down there to see if there's something wrong with the pipes?
Well, Ruderman, when he was here, he did camera that section where we did find the blockage. He did not specify that that section of pipe looked a problem. The blockage was just typically was at a 90, and there was just some paper buildup there, and it caused the backup. That was cleared, and we haven't had any other issues. I know parts of the system were cameraed during construction or remodeling. I don't know if the whole building was. I think maybe it's a good idea for me to have it on my list that we do camera sections, that haven't been done, in the near future to see if there is any type of issues. But as far as has anything else been cambered since we've taken possession of the building? No, it has not, for this problem.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
Back to you, Peter.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes item 3. I'm going to move down the list, and again, feel free to jump back if we need to. Item 4 is the change order log, the look-ahead changes, and the budget. Those are all the attachments you've seen in the report. There's the change order log. You're familiar with that. The other look-ahead changes, pretty much up to date. And then the budget itself.
Peter, we seem to be losing your volume there.
You're losing my volume?
Okay, that's better.
There's some background noise, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but nonetheless.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll speak up a little bit. So we have,
Maybe if everybody can mute their mics while Peter's talking.
nonetheless, we have the standard reports here with the change order log, the look-ahead owner changes, and then the budget itself, which gets us back to the very bottom line, which is always an interesting number. People want to make sure where we are. we're still hovering in the same value of uncommitted monies down there, the $220,000, give or take, as a forecasted look ahead available project budget monies. That's still yet to be determined, but that's what I'm currently tracking. It's been relatively consistent over the last several meetings, give or take a few $1,000s here and there. But you can see the bottom line number right there that's highlighted in yellow. I'll pause for a minute if there's any questions on change orders, budget. If not, Mr. Chairman, I'll continue down the list. Item 5, new business or general open discussion.
Anybody have any comments? No? No,
The next item, oh, thank you. The next item is we have one invoice from the commissioning agent in the amount of $8,897 for the last period of time. It keeps them at about 77%.
Hey, Al, I have a question on that.
Yeah, I think, was that Dexter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter, on that invoice is, the invoice that you submitted is a note of an outstanding invoice from March or April for $900+. What's the scoop on that?
That was approved at last building committee meeting.
Yeah, okay. So then this invoice is prior to that meeting and that vote, is it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I thought we had taken care of it, and then I saw the outstanding balance of the invoice, so I wanted to query it.
Okay, no, that's all taken care of.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
All right, Peter, you ready for us to take a vote on the invoice?
I am, Mr. Chairman, if you would be so kind. Thank you.
Anybody, we have a
I move-
motion?
Move that we approve it as submitted.
Okay, motion by Dexter. We have a second.
I'll second that.
Peter O'Neill, second. Okay, do a roll call vote. Dexter?
Aye.
Peter O'Neill?
Yes.
Jim Stewart?
Aye.
Earl Story?
Yeah.
Al Gordon, yes. That's unanimous. Okay, back to you, Peter.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee members. Moving down, the next meeting, just looking at the next meeting date. Here we are on October 7th. If we're going to use the first Wednesday, it would be November 4th, if we want to go back to the monthly.
Al, I've got a question on that.
Go ahead, Dexter.
Peter, when you were discussing the AAB and ABA meeting that you're going to have, is that something that we should be involved in, or should we be discussing it at one of our meetings prior to waiting until the 1st of November?
I don't see any reason at this point, Dexter, that the committee could not wait until the next meeting. If that's going to be on the 4th of November, I think that's close enough as far as an update.
Okay, and that's fine with me, Al.
Okay, so it looks like the next meeting will be November 4th, 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
Duly noted.
Beyond that, Mr. Chairman and committee members, that's what I have to report this morning.
Okay, does anybody have anything further they want to discuss?
Peter
Move to
O'Neill.
adjourn. Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
Peter O'Neill, go ahead.
I just had a question when I was reading through the spreadsheets there on the canopy out back. It had a $1,500 cost to fit that. And as I'm wondering, did we pay that? Was that our fault, or was that someone else who backed into that? Or I'm assuming that's what that is.
Yes, that was money being held from us, and we did have the site tech, come out, and he applied heat to it and straightened it out as good as he could, and then we also put some new paint over the area that he corrected.
Well, I guess my question was, who was responsible for the damage and who's responsible for fixing it? Did we pay to have it fixed? You said that money was withheld, but if we didn't damage it with one of our town vehicles, whose responsibility was that? And I realize it's only $1,500, but it's $1,500.
Yes,
Like
yes,
a bike.
and that was with contract money that was just being held to make sure it was fixed, and Site Tech was the responsible party, and they did,
Okay.
correct.
Well, that's what I know we've probably discussed this many times, but my small brain couldn't handle it.
That's fine. Good question,
Give
Peter.
yourself some credit, Peter.
Oh, my smaller brain.
Well, it's good to
Move
see
to adjourn
Brian.
now.
Okay, it's good to see Brian on here today. We haven't heard anything from him, but it's good to see him with us.
And he's
Okay.
smiling.
He's smiling. Maybe it's a fixed picture.
No, I can talk too. I'm just listening.
Okay. Well, thank you, Brian. All right, we have a motion to adjourn from Dexter. We have second.
I'll second that.
Okay, I think we'll do a roll call vote. Dexter,
Aye.
Peter O'Neill,
Yes.
Jim Stewart,
Aye.
Earl. Aye. Bill Gordon, yes. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Hey, guys.